Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
You might remember the video that I recorded and uploaded of Ponzi racing around a private track in Dudenhofen, Germany. We live streamed that, but the video I uploaded was of higher quality than that. We were invited out to Frankfurt to attend an auto show, the auto show apparently, courtesy of GM as bloggers. Now, neither Ponzi nor I are car buffs. We're not car enthusiasts. But we did have fun with that entire experience, shared it together. And, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we've got a top 10 tips for the perfect auto show experience. And as I'm going over this, I want you to either post this or just think about what was the first car you've owned, and if you've never owned a car before, what's the first car you care to own? And then what kind of car are you driving now? Would you recommend any one of them or not if you didn't like it? This list, by the way, is submitted by Michael Rivera, who has submitted quite a few lists now. He says that this is what he writes. I've loved cars since about the age of 3 when I first learned to read a car magazine. In fact, I was able to point at any random car and give you the make, model, and year of the car, an ability he still has today. Wow. I can't even remember what I could do at 3 years old. I've gone to my local auto show in San Diego, California for over 10 years now, and I feel I've had enough experience to share with the rest of the community how to have a good auto show experience as an attendee. 10 tips. Number 10, know when to go. Knowing when to go is an important thing when you're going to an auto show. Don't expect to have a good experience in an hour or two. It takes me, and this is again Michael, about 6 hours on average to visit every exhibit at an auto show, and at a larger auto show, or larger one, you have to take even more time to take in everything. So be sure to spend most of the day, or plan on spending most of the day at the auto show. And get there early, as parking lots fill up quick and exhibits become crowded. Plan to get home late, too. Also, try to go on a weekday, as the show is most likely to be less crowded during the week. Number 9, know who to bring. If you do go to the auto show with a companion, be sure to know who you want to go with you. It's recommended that you bring someone with an interest in cars or someone who's in the market for one. Otherwise, things can get quite boring for that person, and it would be detrimental to your experience hearing the person complain every 5 minutes. Also, children and auto shows do not mix well unless the child has an interest in cars. Number 8, look for ticket price deals. When I go to the auto show, I look for deals on tickets, and believe me, they can be found everywhere. My local newspaper had coupons for $5 off regular price, and local grocery stores and fast food locations had coupons as well. So, there are always a lot of ways to get to an auto show cheap. Number 7, have a plan. When you arrive at the auto show, don't just run for the first car you see. Have a plan of where you will start. I go to the nearest end of the show floor and start from there, going all the way to the other side, and then I turn around to view the other side until I reach the end that I began at. He's got a plan. That's the bottom line. This makes it a lot easier to know what manufacturers you have seen already and those you have yet to see. Number 6, pace yourself. Don't try to see every manufacturer one right after the other. Slow down. Stop and rest if you need to. Go to the bathroom. Get some food and drink. The cars will be there when you're ready to go, and look at more again. If you are a leg or a foot or, however you choose to move around, if any of your body hurts, it's best to just take a time out. Cars are not going anywhere, at least anytime soon. Number 5, get the info you want. Most people come to the auto show for 2 reasons. 1, to sit in the cars and see them in person, and 2, to get as much information as they can from the reps there. Don't be afraid to ask questions of the reps at the auto show. I know that there's a strict no sales pressure policy in place at most every auto show, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. Go ahead and ask the questions you want, sign up for more information, and don't be afraid to talk to the representatives. They're there for you. Don't be afraid to get as many of those little car books that every manufacturer hands out either. I find them very useful as a car buff. And if you don't want to carry them all, get a bag. Bags are available for most of the exhibitors at the auto show. Just ask if you can't find one. Number 4, double back if needed, and that kind of makes sense. Sometimes you don't get enough out of an exhibit because you're trying to get through all of them before time is up or you have to go. Might be good to carry on some kind of notepad or jot it down electronically to say, I like to go back to this one, this is the location of it. Or mark it off on a map if they have a layout. In most of the auto shows, I'd imagine would. Number 3, visit the other attractions available at the show. Nowadays, auto shows have extra attractions available to the attendees. Some of these are put on by the manufacturers, while others are sponsored by the auto show. Anyway, they're almost all very interesting and can make an auto show even better than it already is. Kind of neat. And in fact, he's noting that his local auto show has 2 test drive programs available, an off-road course, several demonstrations, and a whole exhibit dedicated to eco-friendly tech in cars. The first one like it in the U.S. It's kind of neat. Oh, look, and a whole other whole other floor dedicated to aftermarket. I cannot speak today. Aftermarket accessories for cars. Wow, there's a lot more than just cars at car shows, I guess, or a lot more fun to be had than just sitting on the car show floor. Number 2, visit certain automakers at certain times. At your average auto show, almost every major automaker will show up and have an exhibit there. However, some higher profile exhibits will fill up sooner, like Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, etc., while others have relatively less people. Visit the exhibits that have less people first, and then visit the higher profile ones when there are less people. Of course, the crowds may never let up, so you may just have to put up with all those other people while you're there. And number 1, take your time. You know, you're going there for a reason. You're interested, you're in the market, you got questions to answer, but if you're not relaxed while you're going through it, you're just going to feel rushed. I mean, there's no sense of really, experience if you're just rushing through it just to get through it. What's the point of even going in the first place, If you're just going to rush through it, it's an experience to just relish. And as I said, I'm not a car buff, nor is my wife, but we enjoyed ourselves in Frankfurt, not as car buffs, but just taking it all in. We learned a little bit about what manufacturers had, ready to come out, or newer models, some newer tech inside of cars, including hydrogen stuff. It was just an interesting experience, and I think more than anything, it would be good for you to just experience once if you've never purchased a car. Again, to answer questions, to get a feel for what kind of cars you like or would like to get, or possibly even set as a goal, this is the car that you want to get eventually, at least at one point in your life. You never really know. Now, my first car was a Carmen model Bug. It was a convertible. It is certainly a far cry from what I have today, which is a nice sedan. I was happy with any kind of car, really, as long as it had a steering wheel. I am happier with satellite radio and navigational systems, I'll tell you that. And the 1966 Bug definitely had neither. I was lucky that thing had a gas pedal. Whew! And let me tell you, driving that thing around in Iowa winters, it was cold. Oh, it was cold. It was so cold. It was warmer outside the car, driving, than it was inside the car. I kid you not. No matter, M. Rivera 1, really appreciate that tip list. I certainly will now know who to turn to when I have some car questions. M. Rivera 1. And he's at the chat room. He's here right now, isn't he? Yep, there we go. He knows how to spell Carmen, too. He knows what he's talking about. So now you know where to find a car buff, someone who probably knows more about cars than the average geek, unless you're a car geek. He's in the chat room. We're always talking about stuff. Sometimes now, apparently, we'll talk about cars, but it's usually about technology, software, hardware, maybe technology for cars. You never know, really, what's going to be happening. We've got approximately, what does that say? 368 people who are watching the live video stream right now. Oh, I'm sorry, it just jumped up. 374 are tuned in to the live audio video stream right now. And there are a lot of people in chat as well. So stop by. What are you waiting for? We're waiting for you. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.